Well guys, here we are. I managed to put off doing this video for almost 2 years. And whilst there are certainly no shortage of videos out there on the rule of thirds, it is such a fundamental aspect of filmmaking and composition that I couldn't avoid making this video any longer. It's time for me to put my spin on it and hopefully leave you with a fresh perspective that you'll find entertaining and useful. I'll be covering what the rule of thirds is, why it's so powerful, as well as discuss some instances when you may not want to follow the rule. All right, let's get into it. The rule of thirds is probably the most well-known and probably the most used rule of composition. It enables you to create powerful compositions quickly and consistently. And it is by no means a beginner-only sort of rule. I subconsciously find myself using it almost every single time I go out and pick up a camera. It works, and it works extremely well. The rule is simple. You mentally divide your frame up into thirds, both horizontally and vertically. Many cameras will now have rule of third guidelines that you can go and turn on in the menu. What you do next is you place the key elements of your composition on these third lines. So, for example, if you're framing up a wide landscape shot that incorporates the horizon, try placing the horizon on either the top or bottom third line. Which you choose is going to depend on whether you're framing for the land or the sky. If you have a vertical subject, such as a person, try moving them off to either the left or the right third line. To expand on this further, the best places to position your elements are on the points where these lines intersect. These intersect points are extremely powerful. It is said that the reason they work so well is because of how our eyes scan an image. Our eyes have this tendency to move around a picture, landing on these various intersect points. By placing our subjects on these points, it gives our eyes a target to lock onto and engage with, and the composition feels natural, aesthetically pleasing, and well balanced. It just feels right. Now, if you have secondary or background elements within your composition, where possible, it might be best to also position that element on the third lines and intersect points as well. When placing two elements on two opposing third lines, your composition will feel balanced and interesting to watch. This might be another person or anything of visual interest within your frame. All right, let's explore how we can use the rule of thirds when designing a conversational scene between two people. You will see this technique used all the time in virtually anything that you watch. Let's set up our first shot featuring both subjects. We'll create what's called a two-shot with both subjects on opposing third lines facing one another. We'll position both of their heads on the top third line to create a nice balanced composition. You can see how this shot not only looks great, but it feels right. It feels comfortable as a viewer. For the next shot, which will be a close-up, we'll take one of our subjects and position them on the left-hand side of the frame, with their eyes on the intersect point. This leaves 2/3 of the negative space in front of their gaze, which feels comfortable and balanced. When we go to film the reverse shot of our second subject, we should now place their eyes on the opposing intersect point, looking back the other way. When we film a scene this way, it creates a comfortable amount of negative space between our two subjects. As we edit between these two shots, our eyes will move from left to right and then back again, just as it would if we were sitting in on the conversation in real life. This negative space in front of our subject's eyes is called looking room, and we've done a whole video on this topic if you'd like to learn more. We also discussed the effect of cutting off or short-sighting someone's looking room and the emotional impact that this has on an audience. So make sure you check that one out. It's super fascinating. Now, I know what you're thinking. David, you're breaking the rule of thirds right now. You're not on the third lines. You're centrally framed. What gives? Excellent thought, which leads me to those instances where you may want to consider breaking the rule of thirds. Not so long ago, central framing used to be called dead center for this very reason. Your eye settles in the middle and stops tracking. For a long time, this was considered to be dead boring, but it does have a time and place. It works for videos such as these, which are educational content or vlogs where you want to have a conversation directly with your audience. In these instances, you want your audience to be focused in on a single thing, the message that you're delivering directly to them. And this is the best time to break this rule and frame your shot centrally. In this situation, you don't want their eyes darting around the composition. You don't want to lead their attention anywhere else. You want them to remain focused as much as possible. So this is one reason that you might consider breaking the rule of thirds. Another reason may be that you want to employ a different compositional rule, one that's more symmetrical, such as a one-point perspective shot or a circle or spiral, where the shot is balanced on all sides. There are many reasons that you may not want to employ the rule of thirds. And remember, this rule, like all of the rules of composition, are powerful when used, but they are also more guidelines than hard rules. Nothing is set in stone. But if you understand them, then you are empowered to break them with intention, which is when going against the grain will have the greatest impact. Well, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please let me know by leaving it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos on composition, please let me know down in the comments what kind of videos you'd like to see next. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.